Born in Washington, D.C., my guest today first developed his interest for music while in high school in the band program at Eleanor Roosevelt High School, located in Greenbelt, Maryland. With his strong taste of gospel and R&B music, this Howard University alumni has swooned many over the years with strings of melodies, to include a debut album in 1996 that sparked a very favorite Grammy-nominated hit entitled For You, which then earned him a win at the NAACP Image Awards for Best New Artist. Also receiving Soul Train and Stellar Award nominations during his course of his body of work. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome singer and songwriter, Mr. Kenny Lattimore. Okay, first of all, I'd like to welcome the awesome Mr. Kenny Lattimore here.
Thank you so much.
Grammy Award nominated.
Yes, sir.
Songwriter and singer. And for those who may not know, those of us who do know, he's a homeboy here, hometown guy from DC's own. So we got you here really talk about a couple things, but the first thing I wanted to start off before we get into the roots of your roots here in the city is you have a fundraiser that's coming up, the Kenny Lattimore Foundation, and which is an event coming up on the 8th. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the foundation is called the Kenny Lattimore Foundation, and what we do is we use arts mentoring and education to enhance the lives of young people. So this is a very foundational time for us, where we're putting together our curriculum and program that we want to launch very soon, hopefully this summer. So this is our first event that hopefully will be annual, because I think that it's gone so phenomenal and it's sold so well that I think that we are on to something here.
Right.
Doing this during the Christmas season has been good. I think this is giving the community a place to gather and to enjoy some great live music, because that's what we're about here in DC.
You got some good artists, one
and
for sure.
DMV, I'm sorry, now I got to say the DMV, because I used to just say DC all the time, DMV.
Because DC used to say everybody, and then we'll include everybody. We say DMV, DC. For those who don't know, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. That's DMV and stuff. So, but you do have some awesome talent on, and one of the talents you do, I noticed on there, real good friend Camise Lee. We call her Songbird because she has a beautiful voice.
I love it. That's great. I was very fortunate to have Amika Wright to produce this. Right. And she pulled together all of the different talents. So there are various incredible talents that have been known through the city. And then some of the talents are people that I've known in the community from years back that I haven't seen in ages. So it's going to be like a reunion too for me. Okay. All
right. And this takes place Friday where?
At the Harmony Hall, which is in Fort Washington.
Fort Washington, right? Fort Washington. Okay. We got the information. We're going to place it up here because we want you to check it out. It's a beautiful event, and it's for a charitable reason. Can you, tell us what is your vision of this organization?
We are trying to use resources. One of the things that happened to me growing up is I felt that I did not have the type of mentors that I wanted to have. Sometimes we have people around us and they're great people, but then there's some people that we connect with, because mentoring is mysterious to a degree. You could be around kids all day long, and then that one kid's going to gravitate to you, the other kid's going to drift away, and they're going to go to somebody else for whatever reason they find connection. And there were times in my life where I didn't have the connection, and I was like, can I be that for another young man? Right. I worked at the group home system. Okay. And for those of you from the DC area, you may remember, if you were familiar with any of this socially, the Calorama group home is what I used to work within that system.
Okay.
And I worked there for years, and my heart really went out, and I think I developed my passions for this then. And then growing up also, I felt like God really gave me this calling of fathering, and fathering meaning really nurturing young children in general, but young men.
Right.
And giving them resources, giving them information. So for me, having accomplished what I've accomplished in the entertainment industry, I'm in a position now to pass that on, because we have a lot of kids who want to be celebrities. They want to be stars for whatever reason. Yeah. The music has been taken out of the school system, so people, you can't even say, oh, so-and-so needs to be a star because they're so talented. No, they don't even have the instruments anymore. Right. They don't have a lot of the resources and the nurturing to develop as we did. Some of them have it in church. Some of them aren't in church anymore. We used to be in church all the time, so you could go and you could get on a drum set or a keyboard there. Then there are some that have never been in contact with anybody that's been accomplished in the music industry that can answer a question for them. What is celebrity? What is all that about? Because when you really get deep into all of that, you start getting into the character of the person. And we want our kids not only to examine why they want what they want. It's okay to have your dream, but we also want to expand their dream and tell them there are other things that are a part of the entertainment industry that you can be
it's attainable. That's the biggest thing. Is definitely
and there's
attainable.
even more to it. And there's behind the scenes. So sometimes the things that happen behind the scenes are paying more than you being the face out in front. And then what are the sacrifices of you being out front? All those kind of discussions we have. So these kids that want to be a part of the industry and want to follow in the footsteps of me, that they have the right tools to do it.
This is awesome. How can one, if somebody was interested in volunteering, how would they go about to do this? Where can they contact or anything?
They can connect to info at KennyLattimoreFoundation.org.
Okay.
Info that is our email address, our general email address.
Okay.
And someone from the foundation will contact and have the conversation with them. We're at the beginning stages.
Right.
So there's not this massive thing that you have to go through. You know, but it is at this time, it is about communicating with us as we build our communication list. We find out where the interest is. We find out who's interested in partnering for whatever reasons. And partnership, I'm using that very lightly. I'm not saying that partner literally for the foundation as much as sometimes just sharing resources. That's what I probably going to call that, so people understand. But this is a time of research so that we can begin our launch and doing some things in the community very soon. I'm hoping that in 2018 that we're planted in the community and we've done our first services. That's the goal.
I can imagine something like this really being close to your heart, mainly because like was mentioned before, you grew up here.
Oh, yeah.
And you grew up in the music. You went to Roosevelt?
I went to Eleanor Roosevelt out in Greenbelt, Maryland.
Okay. So, all right.
Purely DMV. Born in D.C. But,
Howard University.
Howard University back in D.C.
Okay. And this is something that I found out I didn't even realize. You sang with Mannequin?
I sang with Mannequin, yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
That takes you back to the 80s.
Yeah. Well, I remember Mannequin. Arnell Birdman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As a matter of fact, if I'm not wrong, you guys, do you remember you guys played at the very first Go-Go Awards? It was called Street Awards.
Oh my God.
And y'all performed. That was in the early 90s. That was, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my
God.
But
that's a small world. It come to find out. And this is what I'm talking about. When people, especially when they can relate to you, when you're from where they're from, they know it's attainable.
Absolutely.
And when you open in that door for them, like the Kenny Lattimore Foundation is doing, that's a super big deal and stuff like that.
It's funny. You know, it's interesting being a Mannequin because when I think of our set, even one thing that we always did in our set was when we had long sets, when we were in clubs, is Mr. Magic was always the opening song.
Right.
And we always did the butt. We always did. He used the butt because that was the mainstream of what had occurred after the success of the format to the rest of the world. And always grateful.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Live Music City.
So what would you say were your earliest memories of go-go music in DC? You being from DC, now I know you touch on all ranges of music, all genres. I mean, you touch.
No, thanks.
You touch so many different audiences.
My earliest
But when
memories,
we're talking go-go here,
I can see me in elementary school here in Chuck Brown, and it was wow. It was before the money. Bustin' Loose.
Bustin' Loose.
Bustin' Loose.
What was after Bustin'? Before Money, there was one called Back It On Up. Few Jones. Okay.
And it was Bustin' Loose because I just remember hearing that, growing up.
Yeah.
And it was different. The horns were more pronounced.
Oh,
and the beat and everything was more pronounced. So it wasn't exactly like, and I can tell you what was out during that time because you had Parliament Funkadelic.
Yes.
So you had horns and you had the funk. You had Gap Band. You had a whole lot of other things going on, but it was something different about the instrumentation, maybe the mix on the instrumentation, where the horns were placed and where the bass and drum sat in that track.
Okay.
And the groove. At first, I used to think it was Trouble, but no, I definitely heard Chuck before I heard Trouble.
Okay. and it's funny you mentioned Parliament Funkadelic because I can remember when Bustin' Loose came out. I'm remembering two songs that I remember that were very popular in the skating ring. That was Bustin' Loose, and it was Parliament's Aqua Boogie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those were the two songs that we partied on and all that kind of stuff. So, are there any local musicians who have probably influenced you that you kind of looked up to or whatever coming up?
Wow. Well, for any male singer, I think in the any R&B male singer in the world, you can listen to Marvin Gaye.
Right.
DC, baby.
You better know it. You better know it.
And, interesting enough, the smoothness of this person, I guess she would probably consider herself now a Washingtonian. I think she was mainly grew up in Virginia, but that's Roberta Flack.
Yes.
Definitely, you're talking about this just tone all day long too.
Yes. Yes.
And someone who was conscious of the lyric and what it made you feel. Goodness, who else from here? I'm going to say Tony Terry.
Okay.
You know why? Tony Terry, because Tony Terry preceded me, and I remember when he came out, one of the things that we wanted was hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't. When I was, there was a huge gap, I think, between the time period that there was some successful musicians that were coming out of here on the mainstream. I mean, EU had done it again. They had gone national, but it was different. It was still, we associated pure go-go there.
Right.
But I was singing R&B music, and I was classically trained coming up singing that. So I was doing jazz, R&B, a whole lot of things. Where what was great was having the Quiet Storm here, and HUR, Melvin Lindsay, and all of the mixture of things that I talk about it in my show all over the country. We talk about all these different formats of music and why it kind of made me into who I am. And
it's really interesting because you're true. So much talent did come from it in all areas. The same exact thing that you mentioned that groomed you were the same objects, the same places, the same things, radio, Melvin Lindsay, Quiet Storm, they helped groom go-go.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? You were able to take it abroad, which we thought Mannequin was going, because I know Donnie Simpson loved Mannequin. You know what I'm saying? So we thought Mannequin was going to take it abroad anyway, but you continued to do so as well, like you said, Tony Terry.
And what a great experience. Tony Terry, I mean, Johnny and Stacy.
Yes.
Johnny Gill, Stacy Lattisaw, they were our hope of, where the possibilities could go.
Yes.
And the beauty being from this area, I have to say, was that I was fortunate enough, to have a relationship with all of them. And even before there was a Kenny Lattimore, before anybody really knew me, I was hanging with Johnny and Stacy, and while I was in Mannequin and all of that. And it was grounding for me because I was able to sit at Mr. Lattisaw's feet and listen to him tell me stories about the industry and don't do this, son, and do that. And, I really haven't talked about that very much through my career, but I did. I sat at Mr. Lattisaw's feet, and it was life-changing. It really was.
And full circle. When you look at full circle, Kenny Lattimore Foundation, that's exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Those things that inspire.
Absolutely, yes.
That's the whole point of it.
Yes.
Okay, And I'm gonna tap on go-go a little bit, a little bit more because
let's do it.
That's our largest audience, but our biggest audience is just local. Period.
Sure.
But just recently, and I couldn't make it. It was at the Smithsonian.
Oh yeah.
Several months ago with Team Familiar. Did you perform with? That was Darnell and them. Did you?
Oh
perform?
yeah, we did. What did we do? An hour set, at least an hour set, because when you get started, it don't stop. It's hard. You get into it. It's like
don't I know?
And I love the transition of it, because the go-go beat it accommodates some songs maybe better than others,
right?
But as a musician, what makes it challenging is the interpretation of it, fitting in certain melodies, finding the pocket that works. So it's always interesting because it becomes a new song,
right?
When you shift the pocket a bit. So
every time it's like improvisation. You just go. You know the basics, and we're gonna work around them basics. Yeah. That's go.
And when you do it well, there's something to be said about that. Now, we were doing the American Songbook. So
okay. See, I was out there a few days prior with William Reynolds, and so I didn't get to make it a few days later.
Yes.
So
it was phenomenal. It felt so fresh, and what was interesting was to see all of the different ethnicities and nationalities of people that began to gather around us as they heard the sound. And folks that maybe had never heard go-go before ever, were connecting to. Wait a minute, I think he's singing Frank Sinatra, but it's got some kind of beat behind it. So they would kind of sit there like, I know this song is familiar, and which is something that Chuck Brown did so much. He the American Songbook was in right in his repertoire.
Yes, indeed.
And he'd break it out along with reggae and other kind of music. Again, he was finding the pocket, finding new life for a lot of those songs and messages.
Now you got a new release. Your new release is
yes. New album is called Vulnerable.
Right.
And we're really excited about that. The single Push is out now.
Okay.
And there's about to be the next single is called Stay on Your Mind.
All right.
And sexy ballads,
I mean, there it is. The ladies love you. Yes, the ladies love you, and the fellas appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm trying to give you more to appreciate. Absolutely.
There it is. So definitely gonna wrap this up, but definitely appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Once again, this Friday, December the 8th. Yeah. What's it called again? The title?
We're calling it. It's like Kenny Lattimore and Friends, the DMV Soulful Christmas.
It's a soulful Christmas.
And
you know who was the New York Times that labeled you the modern day soul man?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Quite an honor.
If it's coming from Kenny Lattimore, it's gonna be very soulful.
Yeah. So we're gonna mix up some music. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be like going to an old house party and see. That's what we DC. Going to the basement house party. We're gonna have some great R&B soulful music.
Okay.
And it's gonna be a mixture of things. You're gonna have some go-go.
All right.
And we're gonna have some holiday music too. But it's not gonna be just one dimensional. It's gonna be a fun night of just a mixture of great music and a lot of fun.
Definitely support that. All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
brother here.
Thanks, man.
Homeboy. My man. Appreciate it.